Hey now, good morning. PASW staff, clients, and friends joining us. Welcome to Tuesday's class. We looked at The Graduate yesterday and your film scoring assignment of him just treading water and that scene. So we'll see what you can come up with by today so we can see it on Friday. And that should be fun. I'm so excited. I dreamt about this last night because I was so excited to talk about this guy. Nobody really talks about this guy. All through college, never mentioned. My dad told me about him at the Grove when I was in 8th grade. And then that name's kind of stuck with me. And then when I met David Fick, who was my professor, still is a dear friend who I met at school, he reintroduced me to him. And this is somebody that's influenced my writing so much. Known for his extreme sensitivity with music and with melody. Perhaps he got lost in the shuffle a little bit because he was around these giants. And we're talking, Stravinsky and Schoenberg. Those were the two giants of the 20th century that lived, less than 10 miles away from each other in Los Angeles. But this now I'm just digressing. We're getting into different classes, but I'm very excited about talking about the beautiful French composer Poulenc. Francis Poulenc, just known for his melodies mostly. I mean, he was a self-taught composer. I mean, took piano and theory lessons, but for the most part, his mom taught him piano at age 5, but didn't go to a music conservatory like all the other kind of prodigies. He was a prodigy with melody, though. He wrote tons of songs, solo piano works, chamber music, choral pieces, operas, ballets, concert music, incidental music it's called, but they're almost like it's pre-musical theater. Here's a timeline of what we're looking at. So he's born in 1899, dies in 1963, has a heart attack at age 64, and dies in Paris. He's mostly in France his whole life. He comes to the United States and New York for a little bit, but as you can see, he's going around kind of the same time as Eric Satie a little bit. Stravinsky's just, lived a really long time. So that's just kind of a rough timeline. What a time to be born in 1899, a year before the 20th century. Who else is born the year Poulenc is born? Al Capone is born. Shoot. If he wasn't born, how many people's lives would be saved? He really was one of the founders of organized crime in America, in Chicago. So horrible birth. Hitchcock is born that year, going to change movies forever. Ernest Hemingway is born, going to change literature forever. Duke Ellington is born, going to change music forever. So we have a lot of very important people born, and Poulenc, in the year before. Like I said, Poulenc was self-taught for the most part. His mom played piano. His mom played Debussy at the house. But he came from an upper-class family. His dad was in pharmaceuticals. Left him a lot of money, actually, too, when he died. His parents died when he was in his teens. So he was devastated. He had a lot of loss in his life, a lot of close people. And he was a highly sensitive person, but known for high spirits and his irreverence. Great sense of humor. Had a taste for jazz and music halls and circuses and high society parties. So as you can see from the timeline, he's writing kind of from the 20s on to when he dies in the 60s. So 20s, 30s, 40s is when he's dying, or is when he's writing. And it's kind of like in the teens, we talked about Eric Satie, and it's like The Rite of Spring comes out in 1913. And that changes music forever, It's kind of like music is either, there's post Rite of Spring, pre Rite of Spring. So he hears that. His uncle takes him to a concert to hear the Rite of Spring. And of course, his life has changed, everybody else's. So, but in that time, before the 20s, kind of music is becoming, there's different people are becoming, you're either, and that's why I wanted to do Wagner before we did this, because Erik Satie and Poulenc are anti-Wagner, okay? They want to detach themselves, and their music sounds nothing like Wagner, with the huge opera, the huge orchestration, the huge just pulsating melodies. Even though their music's melodic too, it's this grand, Wagner's huge. They want to still have the melodies, but they're creating a whole different kind of music here. It's still under the umbrella of classical music, but they're trying to get away from Debussy and Wagner. So that's why Erik Satie and Poulenc are. And you can hear a lot of influence from Erik Satie's influence on Poulenc. I mean, they were friends. They knew each other, obviously, and he knew all of those. He knew Stravinsky, and Stravinsky was instrumental in kind of helping him get his work off the ground. I don't know how serious Stravinsky took Poulenc's music, because it was more, although he wrote concertos and chamber works, it was more. It's really hard because it's early jazz kind of. I mean, I was thinking about this. It's early jazz music. It's kind of salon music. It's kind of music that would be played. It's casual listening sometimes, but not to say it's not important. But anyway, okay, we'll talk about it. But there's all types of music happening in the teens, and including art in general, and especially in Paris. I mean, that's where. And if you ever check out Midnight in Paris by Woody Allen, that'll take you back to that time. It's a great movie. But where all these in the teens to the 20s, all this culture is happening. Cubism, Picasso, Matisse, all these artists are gathering here, and it's amazing, because it's like we still talk about that kind of revolution that was going on, that artistic revolution, surrealism, all that stuff that I don't know about, but I read things. And so with Poulenc, I mean, so by the time the 20s happens, like I said, his parents died. His father gives him some money, but he's also commissioned to write a lot of stuff, and to write ballets, to write operas and stuff like that. He buys this huge country house. Gosh, this thing is so nice. It's 140 miles southwest of Paris, and this is where he retreats. This is where he writes most of his music, in this surrounding, and in the gardens that he created the gardens himself, yes, he was gay. Not that gardening has anything to do with that, but that this goes to a lot of his troubles. I mean, he was depressed. He was irreverent. He was out there. They said that he was kind of full of contradictions, but I think a lot of that was that. But he was one of the first openly gay composers, which was, I mean, it's still taboo to almost say that, and now it's less taboo. But I mean, to come out in the 20s, I mean, it's very sad to kind of have to hide that. So that, of course, is very hard for that not to be a part of your music, your thoughts, of being in the closet. It's so horrible. He suffered with that too, because he was also religious, and he became more religious as more of his friends passed away. But he was born, as a Catholic, so a constant inner turmoil. But anyway, buys this beautiful house. They have parties. Cocteau comes over. People are just, and so he has this place. And I believe the room is still intact. The same room that he would write all his music in with the piano is still there. So as you can hear, I mean, the main thing is his melodies, right? His melodies stand out in a way that are unforgettable, in a way that other composers either looked down upon or they couldn't do it, so they were jealous of. They're simple, they're pleasing, they change a lot. I mean, every 2 to 4 bars, there's almost a new idea going on. So he's full of ideas. I think that's why I've connected to him more than any other composer, because I can't get my ideas linear. I'm just all over the place too. I mean, probably Nina Rota and Poulenc are probably my biggest influences when it comes to my own music. But again, this isn't about me. But he uses conventional harmony. So we talked about other people using dissonant harmony, but his was so recognizable. So it was almost, and I don't know if people would say like, well, he didn't have the training to do it, correctly or properly. And I hate all that stuff because, like we said, music is music, right? His music always had freshness to it. I mean, his harmonic language was just so beautiful and personal in his melodic writing. I mean, so personal, clear and simple. There's chromaticism in there, but it's used very subtle. It's used to get the melody there. You know what I mean? Here's the melody. He's going to put chromaticism here around it just to kind of, not to throw it in there, but to get to the melodies. If that makes any sense. Okay, here's just an example of his harmony, his voicing, which is, how a chord is spelled. Let's take 3 chords. Let's start with A minor, just 3 notes. Okay, A, C, E. Sounds very basic, right? Okay, let's make it a 7th. Let's go A, C, E, G. Nice chord, right? Minor 7s. A lot of jazz music has minor 7s. Let's take it one more note. Let's go to a B. Let's make it a 9th chord. So Poulenc loves minor 9th chords, as do I, and Burt Bacharach does. I mean, minor 9 chords are just beautiful. You could just play a bunch of them, and they sound really nice. And that's how easy they are to play. Okay, so he's going to go to that, and let's go to a D chord. So A minor to a D chord. Let's make it a D7 chord. Okay, D, F sharp, A, C. He's not going to spell that. He's not going to do a D7 chord like that. He's going to do an A minor 9. Okay, stay with me. And then instead of just a regular D chord, he's going to on the right hand, he's going to keep the C, E, G, B, okay? Now, going to the 5 chord, the D chord, we're going to go D in the left hand. And then on the right hand, we're going to stay with the C. So there's the 7th. C is the 7th. We're going to do E flat, which is the flat 9. We're going to stay with F sharp, which is part of the D7 chord. And we're going to do a flat 9, okay? So we're going to go B flat. And to me, I that A minor to, and then let's resolve it to G minor 9, okay? Okay, that progression is something that he does all of the time. It's something that I do all the time. Do you hear how fresh it sounds though? How nice it sounds? That's his sound a lot of time. I mean, for the most part, simplifying it. He's mini sounds, but that's going to be a progression where a lot of his melodies are going to go around those notes, go around the minor 9s. But you can hear his bright colors, his strong, clear rhythms. I mean, it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous music, because it's hard to classify sometimes. I mean, yeah, it's classical music, but it doesn't sound like, okay, are you ready to listen to boring classical music? It's jazz music, but no, it's not. It's musical theater. No, I don't know. It's just nice, really good beautiful music. So that's Francis Poulenc. Hope you got something from it. I don't know. He's somebody that really deserves more credit. He's a brilliant, brilliant composer. He lived a really hard life too, but wrote some of the best melodies. And melodies live on. So whatever anybody kind of didn't like about him or kind of didn't think he was as serious, he won because we still remember his melodies. So, okay. No way, I didn't say it all. I said it all. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for paying attention to some of this kind of theory. I know we can do this. Okay. Tomorrow. See ya.